Good morning, Emerald class, and hope you're having a good morning so far and that you got on okay yesterday. I've been thinking about you lots and hoping that you're all okay at home and keeping safe, because that's the whole idea of us being out of class. That's to stay safe and well. Okay, so we're here doing the maths PowerPoint for this morning, so your maths lesson, and the first thing we're going to have a look at is doing our starter. The times table shown on here, the times table grid, represents a certain number sentence. So what's the number sentence that is showing? And then if you can do the answers, think about putting the answers in and come up with a final answer, then that would be amazing. So I'm going to get you to pause now and have a look at it. And so pause the video so that you can have a really good look at it and see if you can work this one out. And hopefully you've had a really good look at that, and you should have the answer of 2 times 42, and the answer to that is 84, because here we've got 2 times 40, and that would be 80, and 2 times 2, which would be 4, so that's 84. And the initial way of working this part out, what the actual number sentence would be, is to recombine these two numbers, because the first thing we do when we're doing timesing 2-digit numbers is to partition them and to break the number down to make it easier to answer. Okay. So the next one, this is a cool challenge. So this challenge is how many cookies are on each plate, and I'm going to leave you to have another pause of that one if you want to have a little look at that. And it's finding out how many cookies are there here in total. So pause now. And hopefully you've got that there are 4 cookies on the 3 plates, so that's 4 lots of or 3 lots of 4 cookies, and the answer is 12, and you can count them up in 4s, 8, 12, so 4, 8, 12 to get your 12 cookies. Hopefully you've got that right. So here's a little one for you to have a think about. This is I mean, normally in class we'd say think about this and talk to your partner, think of the different ways that you could answer this, what are the strategies you could use. So we can't really do that at home unless you want to talk to whoever's around with you. You know, talk to mum or dad if they're helping, or even the dog or the cat. Okay, you know, just to get it out there and to talk things through is often quite a useful thing to do. Let's have a think about that. You can pause your video and have a little think about what strategies could you use to answer this. And now we're back in. Hopefully you've had a way of getting that sort of out and, you know, getting your ideas working, your maths brain in gear. 23 lots of 4, you could change it around that way and think of counting up in 4s, perhaps up to 10 lots of 4, maybe another 10 lots of 4, or perhaps even partitioning 23 down, which is the way that we have been sort of thinking about those higher numbers, splitting them up in order to make it easier to multiply. You could think about 23 perhaps on a counting forward 23 jumps of 4 lots of 23 on a number line. Lots of different ways of doing that multiplication. Okay. So today we're going to have another go at multiplying using a grid, but we are going to use it for higher value numbers today. So that's going to be using some numbers were quite simple yesterday, so they're getting a little bit trickier. They're more year 3 work for you. It does get trickier as we go through the year, but we'll be with you every step of the way. So the way that we've been using the grid so far this week and last week doesn't change. Okay, we're doing exactly the same. We're having the 10s and the 1s split down, and then we're timesing it by the multiplier. That doesn't change. So it's just today that we're dealing with higher numbers. Okay, so we have to be really careful when we're recombining the two numbers at the end that we don't make any slip ups. It's really easy to do all the really tricky multiplication, and then when you add it back up, that you make an error. Very easy to do. In fact, that's probably the most common thing that we find when we're marking these sorts of questions. You could get all the really tricky multiplying done, and then just a slip up with some simple adding. So try not to fall into those traps. We can do this. And I found this online yesterday, and I thought this is very sweet because there's a little house on this part here, and I think we're all at home and we all are all in this together. We're all keeping each other safe and the rest of our school safe. So let's see if we can move on and keep positive. I know it's tricky out there. There are 23 cookies on each tray, so how many cookies are there on 4 trays? So we're coming back to that question again. We're going to do exactly what we did when we did this yesterday, which was to partition the 2-digit number into tens and ones. We've got our place value grid or multiplication grid now. Partition the 23 into 20 and 3, which is 2 tens and 3 ones, and then we're going to times it by, we've got 4 groups, so 4 trays, we have 4 in here. Multiplying these numbers, 4 times 20, 80, 4 times 3, and these are going to get a little bit trickier today because you're having 8s in here and higher numbers in here, so we'll just keep working through. You can count forward on your fingers to help you. 4 times 3 is 12, and then we've got 8 tens here, 1 10 and 2 ones. So here again we're going over 10 here, we're going over 9, so we're getting into that place value difficulty. So we're thinking of the 12 as 1 10 and 2 ones, and the 80 as 8 tens. And when we add them back together and we recombine them, we've got 8 tens and 1 10 is 9 tens. And then we've got the 2 ones here, so that's 9 tens and 2 ones is 90, add 2 is 92. And then we must remember to pop that back in up to our number sentence to complete it. And we're going to have another go at doing a second one. And here we go, we're going to partition 34 into 30 and 4, and we're going to times it by 5. So have a think, where's this 5 going to go? Where's the 34 going to go? The 30 and the 4. What's going to go in here? And see if you've got that, see if you're on the right track. Yes, we're going to partition 30 and 4 to go into the top line of the grid. Putting our times table symbol in here and our 5 underneath. Multiplying now. We've got 5 lots of 30. So that's counting up in 3s or 5s. So I'm going to count up in 5s because it's quicker. 3 times 5, 10, 15. And I know with my place value that answer will be, because it's a 30 here, my digits are going to go across the grid, move one place to the left, and I'm going to get 150 in here. And 5 times 4, or 4 lots of 5, again I could use my 5, 10, 15, 20, I can put them in here and I get my 2 little answers quite close to each other now because we're going over into the hundreds here. 150, add 20, well, that's 15 tens and 2 tens with no ones, and I recombine that. 15 tens, add 2 tens is 17 tens, or 150 add 20 is 170. And that's my final answer. Could have put in 170 in here actually, or 17 tens in there. And this is the first one on your question sheet. So if you have printed that out, that's great. You can do your first one on the question sheet as we go. If you haven't, don't worry, you can just use a scrap piece of paper and just follow this along. Hopefully you've got a ruler and a pencil with you. I always put that onto onto the video before you watch it, just to make sure you've got, you know, some paper to write them down, and then do your questions, or your question sheet printed out. Either is fine. So we're going to partition this first 2-digit number, which is 24 times 3. Does it matter if these are different way round, different number sentences? No, it doesn't. Brilliant. It doesn't matter. A bit like addition. It doesn't matter which way around they are in the sentences. So we're splitting this 24 into 20 and 4. They're going to go into the top line, into the tens and ones column, 20 and 4. And if it helps you to write these on the top, even just a T and an O to help you, that is absolutely fine, just as a little reminder. Times table symbol, and we're going to put the 3 down. So we're going to start from the tens. 3 times 2 is 6. So 3 times 20 is 60. And 3 times 4, we've done this one already. 3 times 4 is 12. So we've got 6 tens. Add 1 10 and 2 ones is 7. 7 tens plus the 2 ones is 72. That's going to be our final answer. We're going to shoot it up to the top. There it goes. Brilliant. Hey, our minions are happy. Yes, we are going to do this brilliantly and be so successful today. And we need to keep calm, because we can always get through this. We are a great team. So hopefully, if you're listening really carefully and watching what we're doing, it should be quite straightforward. Copy that carefully, that question down carefully. If you're doing it from the video, draw your grid neatly. Leave yourself a little space at the below the question, so you can fit it all in properly. Partition that 2-digit number into tens and ones. Write that times table symbol and your multiplier below. Then use the grid. Recombine and include your answer in the multiplication number sentence, and that will be amazing. Now, a little tip for you to help you with some of your multiplication so that you keep track. What you can do to help is get a little piece of scrap paper, or even the back of your worksheet today, and you can write down little skip counted lists of your times tables to help you. So for instance, if you did the 3s, you would just write your list of 3s. Now you don't have to write it all out. You can just go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and you could write them all down. So then you can just count down. That's quite quick and useful. You could do that for the 4s. The 5s you could probably do on your fingers. But I would do the 8s actually today, because unless you know those really quickly, which hopefully some of you are starting to do, that some of us are doing that in class really well, just write yourself a little list so that you get them right. And don't forget, with 4s and 8s, none of your answers in those 2 lines will be odd numbers. They will not be odd. They're all even numbers. Remember, if we times something by an even number, we get an even answer. So that's a way of just checking that you've got them right. Okay. These are the questions today. You're going to multiply these ones. We've done that one already. And as I said, don't worry about the order changing, just as long as you remember that the 2-digit number goes along the top with your tens and ones, and you can do this. Okay, so if you haven't got the questions, you can scroll back to this part of the video and pause it, and then you can work from the computer on a scrap piece of paper if that's fine, if that helps. I know not everybody can print stuff out, that's not a problem. And I think we're there. Okay, we are indeed in this together. We all get through this. I'm really proud of you all, and I hope you'll be being really good and supportive to other people that are home, and being kind to each other. Okay, and hopefully you're getting all right with that today, and I shall see you very soon. Bye now.